Hello everyone and welcome back to Corey Loses, where today we are once again continuing our Fall of the Republic 1.1 playthrough as the CIS. We are about to take Contrum with the combined force of Trench and Gizor Delso. We took a few core planets and made some moves in the north in the last couple episodes. We are also going to move you guys into Orinda. We're going to go take over the actual structures there, having taken out the units already, for the most part. We're going from Muunilinst.
Victory.
Tactical battle imminent.
350. 18 VSDs. What do we have here? We have a Golan 3. We have a ground-to-space cannon. We have a heavy frigate shipyard. So it's technically more than we had at Fondor for defenses. Well, the last time.
Charge up. Resuming previous subroutine.
So let's try it.
This does not compute. Messy.
No. The force corruptibility does not work on heroes.
Reinforcements on
So I guess for people here on Twitch chat and on YouTube in the comments, what faction do you most want to see next with the .2 previews between TR and FOTR? So like CIS Republic, New Republic, Empire of the Hand, Empire, any of the warlords. Hapens? Probably not Hapens yet. Soon.
Check your flanks.
Probably pretty soon. Like, maybe one more playthrough away. But not probably, possibly one more playthrough away. But it's
Awaiting orders.
they're within reach. Alright, so far Twitch chat is asking for a bunch of factions that won't be ready for a long time. No. Uvethans, Yuzon Vong, Siruvi. All the devs and testers.
ion cannon available.
Felix. Okay, so nobody wants to see anything with any of the factions that are in game. That explains how the channel's been doing recently.
Was your aiming reticle recently calibrated? Messy. Machines
Alright,
are
no more
superior.
preview playthroughs, shutting the channel down, and I'm going back to work at McDonald's. Or I'll just do datapad videos all the time and make $100 a month. They say it could be fun.
Over.
I copy. Reporting. Confirmed.
Thought of making each separatist faction a starting faction. So do you mean like a playable faction? If so, then
Droid reporting.
they aren't factions that we'd want to make playable. The way the map is set up, they're basically in territory that so one of the things with Empire War is that in a two-front war, it's very difficult to make it so that it's not like one battle away from being just finished at the start. So we have the sector forces and the corporate factions, like the corporation factions, as ways to give the AI on oh shit, that was a complete waste. Give the AI planets that they can target early that can kind of tip the balance away from a single battle, just winning it for the player, without having it be like a bunch of just annoying attacks early on that take a bunch of your planets, because no one enjoys that. There is still some adjustments we have to do, because for the CIS in particular, like the sub-factions do too much of the work sometimes, so that needs to change in some ways. But the way the map is set up, like the way those planets are picked, they're often in places that would make it kind of weird to attack for if you were playing as them. Like it would require the map to be set up a very different way if we wanted them to be playable.
Charge up.
And
Space station under attack.
there isn't really ways to make them unique the way we're able to make the Imperial Warlord factions unique. It would just be kind of like faction clutter.
Eliminate.
As far as new mechanic stuff, like pretty much any faction except for maybe the Empire of the Hand would have something new to show off, especially with even just stuff like the bomber reworks and the roster reworks for the Warlords. CSA, I'd make sure to have some iteration of the ship market ready.
Destroy turret.
And I'd hopefully have some iteration of legitimacy ready before starting any of the Imperial ones as well, but even then, they have, except for the main Empire, they all have new stuff.
Target acquired.
Like the roster reworks pretty significantly change what they all do.
Target. Well aimed. Terminate them. Machines are superior. Target turret.
Yes, sir.
Alright, we really need to kill these Y-Wings.
Enemy attempting flanking maneuver. Negative life form confirmed. Terminate them. How are you doing that? Target. Eliminate turret. Turret target acquired. Turret target acquired. Power up. IO error.
Thank you, Silver Defender, for subscribing for an 8-month streak, saying these 8 Republic credits will do just fine. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. They will do fine.
Are superior. Incoming. Roger, roger. Destroy turret.
Ooh, do we want to go over there?
Destroy turret. You can't have my part. Termination confirmed. Target destroyed. Oh.
Really, a Venator with no hangar kind of just gets into VSD territory, almost. Similar ideas.
Power up. Roger, destroy turret.
Alright, you guys need to go handle some bombers.
Fire at will.
Golan's present at the Battle of Coruscant. I don't know that they were ever explicitly mentioned anywhere, but even if they weren't, they're the kind of thing that would almost definitely be like an off-screen kind of thing. Because Golan 1s were in existence, Golan 2s were towards the end of the war, I believe. And like Coruscant would definitely have defense platforms. They were kind of like the best, the new defense platforms. Yeah, does Repcom mention them? Okay.
Well aimed.
Like either way, even if they weren't explicitly mentioned somewhere, they'd be the kind of thing that I'd say you can infer about being there, even without explicit mentions. But if they're explicitly mentioned, even better.
Roger, roger.
Reinforcements en route.
Eliminate turret.
Copy.
Unit eliminated.
Location confirmed.
All right. Splitting up a little bit.
Mark destroyed.
Astragonian. So I think quick Google shows me the Fanon legacy from that. We don't use outside Fanon for anything. We make up our own designs for either ships that lack official designs and have names, or where we need to fill gaps. But even with common stuff like the Legacy that gets used in a lot of Empire War mods, we don't use those in the mods.
Enemies in
Victory is inevitable. We're going to be recently calibrated. Destroy turret.
closing on target.
Hold your ground. Kill. Negative life
Which
force.
doesn't mean I dislike all those kinds of things, it's just, it's not stuff we use for the
Negative
mods.
life form confirmed. Dispose of turret. Roger, roger. Finish him.
Get over there. You guys come back here. Ah!
No. We're going to be recently calibrated. Eliminate
How many do they have left? Like, either bring in or... Get over there. Do you have any diamonds? I don't think we have any diamonds left. Ooh, we do have diamonds. Get over there.
All out.
Cool vault.
Fire.
Especially, I can heal up some of this stuff. But if we can kill their fighter, their bombers in particular,
In range.
maybe we'll start getting some shields back before these guys all loop around on us.
Retreat! You are a killing machine!
Frequency open.
Prepare your recycling algorithm. Target turret. Memory fragmented. Target!
Tear it all! Tear it all! You ever at a boarding mechanics you can send boarding shuttle into an enemy ship to take on hard points and look at the that we already have boarding for capturing ships. I don't think boarding for damage would be very fun in Empire War because it's just like send a unit over, press a button, damage happens. Like there's no real user input or gameplay loop there. It's just probably mostly boring way to do damage. Like we're happier using boarding when we want to do like actual ship capturing, as in a game like Empire War that's more interesting. Whereas in like Battlefront, it makes sense that boarding would be focused around getting into that because it's a first-person shooter.
Commence attack.
Like there were a lot of instances in the Clone Wars where like either side would board the other ships to do damage, but for a game like Empire at War, you're not really going to get a huge amount out of that.
Awaiting your command.
And it would make it more confusing trying to explain to people like, oh no, in these cases boarding gets the ship, in those cases it just does damage. It'd be thematically inconsistent. Alright, they're coming back in. May as well eye on you. Huts will be able to board most likely in all mods. As for when they're coming, that is pretty much impossible to answer.
Frequency open. Let's go.
Whenever they have sufficient content done to be worth playing, essentially. There's going to be a few units in TR, at least in the next release. I don't know if they're going to be getting set up in FOTR in point 2. I doubt that, but there will probably be a release or two where they're not playable in Fall of the Republic before they end up being playable.
Cannons on.
Lots of frigate reporting.
So it would be nice to have a third major faction in sooner than later, but it's a lot of content to do.
We're running low on droids.
Because like in TR, they kind of slot into the map in clear places and just like we give them the units as they're done, and that'll be relatively simple. But in Fall of the Republic, it'll probably require making like some new maps based around them,
Attack that target.
and a few more wide-spanning changes. Is there or will there be a unit cap size to capture? You can't just capture subject in your manner. There is a size cutoff for it.
Yes, Commander. Fire at will.
It's gonna be rough. We don't have any shields yet still.
Frequency open.
There hasn't really been enough bombers around to do much damage compared to what we can heal up.
Frigate reporting.
But now the capital ships are starting to be back in, so I think we're not going to be able to kill anything else here. Illusion's asking, are you guys prioritizing use on Vong first? No. The faction that's being explicitly prioritized first are the Hapens, but there's a lot of stuff being done for a bunch of factions at once, including Huts, Yuzon Vong, Killik. Like, we kind of went over it in the anniversary stream and the standalone video for that part of it. Should be coming this week. But the Hapens will be the next playable faction to come to any of the mods, unless not. There's no way Revenge Event comes out before that. So yeah, Hapens will be next, and then the other stuff. It's basically working on a bunch of stuff, and when they become viable as playable, they get turned on. So that could be Vong showing up as a raid fleet thing, or invasion event first. It could be Huts. It could be Chiss. It's hard to say who would come other than the Hapens. I mean, technically you can already capture defensive platforms if you don't destroy certain things because of how weird EAW is with defensive platforms, but because of, like, similarly because of how EAW is with the platforms, we don't really have a reasonable way to do that because they rely on the core structure. So if that dies, then no matter what you've done, that structure's gone.
Tactical battle imminent.
That probably means Ord Tracy and Kutrick are pretty lightly defended. It'd be nice if we could get up to Muunilinst, protect it, and then move on to their capital ship's yards up there. Alright, we ionized the oxygen. I'm going to send you in there.
Reinforcements cancelled.
Then we'll get battle carrier here.
This planet is ours.
And obviously we don't want Kalani. Give you a Kolovex for support.
Reinforcements cancelled. Reinforcements en route.
What is it, my lord?
Alright. And in you go. Yeah, but then Kalani's just gonna get hypervelocity gun. And it'll be sad.
Approach with caution.
I am at your disposal.
Target eliminated.
I am at your disposal. You want me to attack? You want me to attack? I will send one of my minions.
Get over there.
Approach with caution.
Here.
Kind
What is it, my lord?
of gross. Don't know what that is. Don't like it.
Here.
Alright. Attack that. Don't just fire off at random fighters, which I assume is what you're doing. Oh no, you got the dreadnought that already had most of its shields down. You're
I will
thank you.
send one of my minions.
I really wish I was playing with the fighter container changes. We still need to clean those up.
I am at your disposal.
Alright. I don't think we'll end up losing either of these.
Here. How treacherous.
But it's not looking great for this Lucre Hulk. It'll be fine, but it's just not looking great. It's like we gotta ionize the oxygen, taking all that stuff, so.
What is it, my lord?
You got most of your weapons on that side, so turn that way. And kill stuff. Now kill that stuff.
The laser cannons. Frequency open. Firing on their lasers.
First order before or after the TR timeline? It's a separate timeline. First order doesn't exist in Legends, and the stuff that TR covers doesn't exist in the new canon. As far as like the time period, the sequel trilogy takes place around like 30-ish years after the Battle of Yavin. So it's basically kind of right between where Dark Nest and Yuzon Bong War happened. So slightly after what the mod currently covers, but within the period of at least the years of what the mod's going to cover. But it's a separate timeline where like the First Order doesn't exist in Legends, so it wouldn't be part of TR. That's still in there.
Send one of my minions.
It seems that the Force has failed you yet again.
Alright, we're gonna send these guys to relieve Muunilinst. I'd like to take Orinda fully. I think it's best if we try to get there before it gets attacked on the ground. Right, so and if you're doing that, you'll probably notice a lot of repeated names. Think you'll do the First Order in the next few years? Like we've talked about doing a sequel trilogy mod or other stuff covering the new canon stuff, but it's a lot of work considering we have
Tactical battle imminent.
so much that we're doing already. Yeah, let's see if we can hold this. So we don't have any like actual plans to start one anytime soon, and I don't know that we'd ever get to it. Probably just end up doing a couple ships for the ship packs.
We've secured a build pad. We've secured a build pad.
Yeah, I used to do a lot more pun names. I should do that again
Forming
in a
squad.
while.
Clones are out there.
Turret constructing.
Your command. Blast radius check.
Construction complete.
Hey! No use trying to leave.
We've secured a
Blast.
landing zone.
Looks like they're waiting for us. Yay! Roger, roger.
See if we can get just turrets everywhere.
Hey, nice.
They're probably gonna go for that.
A build pad.
Yay! Already. Better come up with a plan. I'm on point. Forming squad.
There.
I hate clones.
We've secured a build pad.
Will there be ground raids from random factions in TR? No.
Turret constructing. Turret
Hey,
constructing.
we got here.
We've secured a build
Forming
pad.
squad.
Turret constructing. Turret constructing. Turret
Visual
constructing.
scan.
It wouldn't really be feasible for third parties to come into ground battles that are already in progress. Like in space stuff, it's because you can jump, anyone can jump basically anywhere.
Complete.
But on ground, the only chance of like third parties being in them would be whatever indigenous forces are aligned with. However reworks that end up working.
Construction complete.
Scan aborted.
I think we can defend this.
Turret constructing. Construction.
The only question mark is on air units. Or not air units, but bombing runs and bombardments. Get a guerrilla one there. Guerrilla one. Right, there's one juggernaut that's probably not going to make it through the day. Where's the other one? Like, okay, there it is. It's coming this way as well.
Circuits
I'm
functioning.
gonna send some of the Hailfires over. I'm gonna keep 2 on each side. Right, get out of there. Oh, here. Get in on there.
Activated. Armed for combat.
Right, the Juggernauts are coming down this way now.
Ready.
So you come around there. Nope. You come around there.
Keep watching the sky.
And do we just... Yeah, let's go up this way. Come off.
Selected. Ready. Launching.
Going to add a spread ability for battle droids or crouch for commandos since they're much more agile. Commando abilities for like all commanders in the game may change a bit, but we don't intend to give the battle droids, the regular battle droids, take cover, because that is a significant increase in effectiveness.
Target down.
They're supposed to be just like massed, not great infantry. That their strength comes from numbers rather than individual survivability. Where's this coming in? You guys get out of there?
Our base is under attack.
That wasn't great. But it wasn't horrible. We kept a lot of the stuff alive, a lot of the battle droids, the super battle droids. Only lost the regular battle droids.
Units detected. Droid program activated.
Unit destroyed. Unit
Get up there.
destroyed.
Armed for combat. Missile robot on the go.
This is one of my favorite maps for gameplay, and it's also one that's ended up in a ton of mods. Some of them accidentally, not realizing where it came from.
Selected. Obey. Program activated.
It was made by Rogue and Bob together for a birthday present for me because I hated the original FOC Muunilinst map. So then Bob free-released his Phoenix Rising maps, and they ended up in AOTR along with a couple TR maps that were in Phoenix Rising because they thought it was all the maps in PR. But and from there, this map ended up in like the remake, like a video I saw of like remakes ground battles. Technically wasn't supposed to be included in those releases, but like ultimately you're supposed to get. Just make sure you update the credits.
Unit destroyed.
Forming squad.
Unit destroyed.
Visual scan confirmation.
Our base is under
So close to killing the Juggernauts, but
build pad.
I want to lose the ion cannon, especially. I have much of a choice there.
We've secured
Ready.
a build pad.
Get them.
Alright, get over that way. Do you do infantry only maps? Yep, there are some.
We've lost a build
Like, PR has a couple that are like that. Clone Wars mod has a couple that are like that. You don't currently. One of the maps in TR is from Phoenix Rising and is an infantry only one there, but something we may do in the future, but not something we do currently.
Audio trace detected. Blast imminent.
I'm attacking.
Your command. Launching. Missile apart. Downloading instruction. Audio trace detected. Commander. Keep watching the sky.
Roger, roger.
Perimeter attack.
Alright, let's see if we can force it away.
Meat bag down.
Roger,
The
roger.
largest map in FOTR and TR? I don't know. We typically, for large ones, try to make them less large. Shit.
Armed for combat.
Big maps are, as a rule, usually not that great. There's something to be avoided, like they end up just being a lot of travel time and not especially fun. Like, for a long time, EAW had an issue where basically every map everyone made for every mod was like as big as possible because people thought bigger was just better. But it was one of the things that really held back EAW ground combat for a long time. It's just maps were one of the main things people did for EAW ground combat, but the maps that people made were nowhere near as good as even Petroglyph's base game maps, which a lot of them are quite good actually. And then like mod ground combat just became terrible until a lot more recently more mods have started paying attention into it. Like the Clone Wars 4.0 had pretty good ground combat for a long time. Phoenix Rising's always had really good ground combat, but like we've started doing more updates. AOTR has as well.
For the Separatist Alliance.
Okay, we technically didn't kill the Juggernauts, but that's fine.
Tactical battle imminent.
Time for Contrum. This will probably be the last battle for the day. Consider giving the CSA like an older mod of the Juggernaut with the A4. The CSA already has a pretty robust ground roster that has a pretty unique playstyle. I don't think giving them another pretty powerful ground unit like that is necessary. It would probably just dilute them and ends up adding more overlap. Turbo for every acclimator.
Chaos for hyperspace at odds.
Domitable.
Mission status reset.
Wrench. Kelso. will work.
Third Federation battleship here.
Shields online.
Rogue.
Commence destruction of Republic forces.
Open frequency.
Alright, on that. This may be the last last praetor of the game.
Shutdown sequence nearly complete.
I mean, the CSA has a really unique and pretty fleshed out ground roster. They have multiple of their own unique units that all fill distinct roles, and those roles create a pretty unique way for them to play. Our goal with factions isn't to make sure they have something that can do everything. If you do that, then every faction's kind of the same. And like, especially with a lot of the future factions, there's like ground rosters aren't going to be huge. There's going to be core stuff for how we want their gameplay to work, and like there's only so much to work off of. So like the CSA has a relatively large ground roster compared to what a lot of other factions have, or they end up having.
Enemy forces have reduced our numbers. Ambush successful.
Scans are coming up negative. We miss.
Destruction imminent.
Like they can do whatever they need to, it's just they have different tools for doing those things. And they do it in different ways, which is really what you want out of a faction. Like, ultimately, having different factions, though, does mean that there will be people who don't enjoy that faction. But that just means that they are unique. So it's not something... Like, if someone says they don't like a particular faction, unless there's, like, a particular issue with them, then that usually doesn't weigh too heavily.
Activated.
It just means that there's probably a different faction they enjoy more.
Destruction is imminent.
Also, it's a little bit too far forward.
We have chased the clones out of the center.
He's probably not making it out of this one.
Shut down targets Alpha and Beta.
Perfect shot. Nice grouping.
Do you think they suspect an attack?
Final arming
Most
sequence
of our
engaged.
power on this side. If we can save Delso, great. If we can't, I want to make sure at least Trench stays alive, but... This is a battle that I don't want to retreat from. I want to end them here.
Final arming sequence engaged.
We have them in our sight.
Oh, okay, Delso's making it.
I cannot calculate why the Republic fleet has not launched another attack.
Final arming sequence engaged.
Like the big thing with the Warlord roster reworks and all that has been like making sure that each faction, even though they are Imperial, has a really distinct playstyle and has more to offer than just a unique starting place or hero set. Yeah, let's move Trench around this way.
Ending. I have witnessed.
Shutdown complete.
We're gonna lose a turbo for every acclimator, a laser for every Y-wing.
I cannot calculate why the Republic fleet has
We only have an auxiliary after that. But hopefully we've done enough. I just don't know how much they have in reserve, because this is definitely still a full pop fleet.
Shutdown complete.
There's still like 6 of these guys.
We have chased the clones out of the center.
Thank you, Flagar, for the gifted sub to Witty.
Countdown's approaching 0.
Dude, that's even more. I don't want to retreat, but I might have to.
Shields back online.
Yeah, I think we gotta. Having them have one more shipyard that's still attached isn't the end of the world.
I would very much like to be taken alive.
Disengaging from battle.
I didn't think Delso still had engines.
Daisy,
Was the determining factor for deciding to retreat. Shit. Yeah, the Lucre Hulk's down. It was gonna die anyways. Oh wait, no, that's still an engine. That's still an engine.
run away.
It's gonna be close. I think it made it. Yeah, it made it. All right. That's gonna do it for that episode. And I think for the stream as well, we are closing in on the end stages here. So there's probably 2 or 3 weeks left. Maybe one more than that. But this is going to be one where we go all the way through. So that's going to do it. Hope you guys have enjoyed the stream and the episode. We may end up doing another stream later tonight. Maybe some Mass Effect or something. Or I should really just work on videos. So maybe I shouldn't do that. Either way, we'll be, if not tonight, we'll be back tomorrow with something probably, unless I get like really far behind on videos and get scared. Because I did schedule Mass Effect already, so we're doing Mass Effect. It's Wednesday that I didn't schedule anything. Normally we'd be doing Stellaris tomorrow, but we're taking a break with Ek and Charlie. We're taking a break from that. This Thursday we are doing Sea of Thieves with them because the whole Jack Sparrow update exists for some fucking reason, and Charlie really wants to play that, so we're doing that. But have a good day, everyone. Thanks for watching.